Hello and welcome to another Lightroom 101 tutorial. My name is Jericho and today we're going to be talking about the detail panel or section in Lightroom. A little sick today, so sorry about the voice, but let's get right into it. So this is a really simple panel. I should be able to go over it pretty quickly. Let's get into the main part of the detail panel, which is sharpening, which is the main thing you're going to be using in this panel. So I have a photo of my friend Chris here. Sitting on a ledge, but this rock actually gives me a very good place to show detail and sharpening in action. So here's the image completely without sharpening, and I'll even zoom in a little bit further. I mean, it's not exactly super sharp, but it's not that sharp. I mean, I did get it in focus, but what we can do is if we add sharpness, we're adding contrast to these minute edges. So if there's an edge that Lightroom detects that's light on one side and dark on the other, it'll amplify that contrast so that it looks sharper. A side effect that you'll get from doing this too much is if you see this noise, I'm not sure if you can actually see it. Let's see if I can zoom in even more. Okay, there you go. Yeah, if you see the noise or the natural grain that the photo has, that has a difference. It has a contrast in between each pixel. And so what sharpening does, it will actually amplify that noise if you've turned it up too much. Or, I mean, it's up to you. If you want that look, it could work. I'm never one to tell you that it's completely wrong to do something. But that's the basics of sharpening, which is kind of the main thing of detail. Next, let's get into some of the other stuff. So the rest of this panel is actually just kind of fine-tuning the sharpening. Radius is how small and minute the edges actually are that you're going to be fine-tuning and adding contrast to. Detail is how much contrast you add. It can get really crazy. And then masking, it seems to be just trying to not get that grain effect I was talking about, not adding too much of that grain. So we have masking all the way up and detail all the way up, so you can see that grain really bad. But then you bring in some masking and it kind of figures out, oh, hey, this part might not want to be sharpened, which is pretty cool. Okay, now we're gonna get into one of the most useful tools and kind of most annoying tools that I've found in Lightroom. And it's not super noticeable if you're like posting on Instagram or stuff like that, but if you're printing large prints, this can be really useful. So I need to find actually a different photo. 1 second. All right, so now we're gonna look at an image that might have some unwanted grain. And that's what the next part of this panel is for, noise reduction. So we can get rid of some of this noise. Basically, it's pretty simple. If you have noise, you probably want to get rid of it in an image, and you can add some noise reduction. Now, if you're mass editing photos, this is very time consuming. On a one-on-one photo, if you're just editing one photo for a really long time or whatever, it's not going to feel like a lot of time. But if you're doing weddings or something like that and you add noise reduction to a whole set of maybe like 300 or whatever, your computer's going to slow down. It's going to take a really long time to edit all those. So if you're doing mass editing, I would suggest doing all of the noise reduction at the end when you're done. Okay, so we can already notice a difference here. Let's turn it off and then back on. So yeah, that's our noise. And then we add noise reduction. Look at that. That's almost magic. Like Lightroom is really good at noise reduction. But let's get into the rest of the noise reduction panel. So basically we can reduce the noise to a level where it almost looks like someone painted your image. And then what you can do is you probably don't ever want to reduce your noise this much. It kind of just looks sloppy and just like kind of like you smeared out this whole image. But if you want, you can add back detail, and sometimes that will save it. Adding back detail is not the same as keeping the original detail, but you can mix these two things in a way that is right for your image. And that's what mastering the noise reduction section really is just finding the balance in your image. And normally that's just finding a darker area, putting your noise reduction till it's got rid of the amount of noise you want to get rid of, and then adding back the detail that you want, and there you go. Not a super big difference, but these subtle changes in large prints really help your image to just look as good as it can. And again, the rest of this panel for noise reduction is just fine-tuning the noise reduction in different ways. On a film image, you'll have grain. that is just texture in the image, but on a digital image, you get noise, which is kind of texture that also distorts color. So your color fix slider is taking some of this weird RGB looking noise and just reducing that. So sharpening can also be added in an adjustment brush, which is a really good way of adding it, since you sometimes don't want to sharpen all that noise, or the blurry background, you don't want it to look sharper. And I've already lightened the eyes on this image, and now I'm just going to add some sharpness. See, if I take it all the way down, you just got kind of a blurry line, but when you pull it back up to like a reasonable number, like maybe 68, you look really close. Let me just hit done here. You look really close, and the image looks like there's a lot of grain in the eye. But if you pull back, it just kind of adds a little extra pop to the eye. That's not just brightness. So yeah, that's about it for the detail section in Lightroom. I hope you learned something, and if you liked the video, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I've got a bunch of stuff on here. I just recently did a photo challenge with my lovely girlfriend Ashley that you can see in this image right here. That was super fun. Also, I make short films occasionally. They're kind of weird and don't fit this channel, but hey, it's what I like to make. So thank you guys for watching again, and see you later.